Department of Agriculture Commissioner Salazar said changing weather patterns were to blame for livestock behavior. Encourage ranchers and breeders to attend this weekend seminar on Beulah Avenue in Pueblo. And if you're out late tonight, you may see some low-flying helicopters near Silverton and Leadville. Seems the Arapaho Park Services will be spraying for an infestation of Lox elderbugs. But do keep all pets and children indoors between the hours of 10 and 3 in the a.m.
Crazy people are scary. Groups of crazy people are terrifying. Places that house groups of crazy people are utterly horrifying. Given these simple facts, it's easy to see why Outlast is one of the scariest games you'll play all year. Being afraid while playing a game is rather rare these days, since vulnerability and measured pacing have given way to fast-paced action and nearly limitless offensive options. Few will argue that the veteran team at Red Barrels fails to offer scares. But there's more to crafting a memorable gaming experience than a few haunted house gags. You step into the shoes of freelance journalist Miles Upshur as he investigates rumors of corporate misdeeds at Mount Massive Asylum in Colorado. Your red Jeep leisurely glides up the dark path to the front gate, recalling Half-Life's tram ride into Black Mesa. Upon exiting his vehicle and locating a way into the monolithic nut house, it doesn't take long to corroborate the information that led Miles to Mount Massive. The build-up to first contact with the horrors within the asylum is classic. Strange noises assault your eardrums, your character's breath becomes shallow and ragged, human figures dart across long halls and lock themselves in rooms, and pools of blood stain hallway carpets. Your trusty camera documents your findings and allows Miles to take notes. These notes act as an internal monologue relaying your character's thoughts and feelings. Documents can be collected a la classic Resident Evil and flesh out the motivations of the dastardly Murkoff Corporation. It's a tale that swirls together science, history, a bit of Nazi mysticism, and a dash of religion into a mostly compelling package.
Holier than thou, Bible thumping. No offense to the man, but I sometimes worry he might just be a little bit crazy. It's understandable. When people get scared, they're as like to turn to God as anything else. God died with the gold standard. We're on to a more concrete faith now. You have to rob Paul to pay Peter. There's no other way. Murder is the simplest form, but what happens when all the money's gone? Well, money becomes a matter of faith.
Unfortunately, Miles didn't get his concealed carry license so that he could tote around a rocket launcher under a trench coat like a proper video game hero. Instead, he is armed with only a camera that has night vision. It's this feeling of helplessness that is the crux of the game's scares. Upon encountering Mount Massive's monstrosities, you're left with two options: run or hide. Most of the lights in Mount Massive don't seem to work anymore, giving you plenty of cover to sneak past the mangled psychos that stalk Miles, provided you move slowly. If you choose to sprint past the opposition, you have keys that allow you to look back and survey your lead. Not every asylum patient is a threat, and this keeps tension high, since figures in the distance can be benign or send you to an early grave. Unfortunately, the pace of Outlast is hampered by the lack of puzzles and a reliance on key collecting or switch flipping for progression. These sections are predictable in addition to being uninspired, since flipping switches alerts your psycho stalkers and generally prompts a mad dash for a hiding spot. Proper puzzles might have provided better opportunities for frights as well as encouraging exploration. Outlast is also very linear, with few places worth poking your camera lens. Dark corners and dead-end rooms often yield extra batteries for your camera or documents that flesh out the proceedings, but fail to adequately reward players who poke their noses around. Consequently, the strict adherence to the critical path means that completing Outlast takes a mere 4 to 6 hours. The halls and rooms of Mount Massive are soaked in blood and covered in viscera. Sinks are littered with severed limbs, and diabolical-looking medical instruments are scattered around. It doesn't seem as though the Murkoff Corporation spent much on renovations, as the interior of the facility is crumbling and decaying. All of these foreboding details are rendered with a liberal amount of grain and noise, giving everything a coarse texture. Lighting is dynamic and moody, and the limited field of vision when viewing the game world through the night vision of your camera is intense. Miles animates well, his hands grasp corners as you peer around them, and the way the camera bobs to emulate the motion of his head while running creates a very immersive game experience. The excessive motion blur isn't exactly welcome, however, and may make players with sensitive stomachs nauseous. Enemies look like they belong in Leatherface's family photo album with their mangled and stitched up visages. It's unfortunate that there's so little variation among them. Also, the animations of your foes are not as commendable as those of Miles. They look more clumsy than menacing, and watching them slide across the floor as you hide under a bed diminishes their stage presence. In all actuality, the strong audio for Outlast accounts for 90% of the scares. Ominous thumping noises and other random cacophony will keep you on edge, and ramped up volume during jump scares may have you coming out of your skin. The soundtrack is composed of a stringed arrangement that intensifies as danger draws near, ramping up appropriately while you're being pursued. Listening to your character's erratic breathing as the situation becomes more dire can also be unnerving. It's safe to say that playing Outlast with the sound off is tantamount to cheating. Outlast is a flawed, albeit memorable gaming experience. It takes many pages from Amnesia's playbook, but is enough of its own game to make it worth playing for fans of the survival horror genre. The lack of puzzles, lack of enemy variety, linearity, and constant key collecting are not irritations that stick with you long after you finish the game. The thrills and frights endure much longer. The stylish and atmospheric visuals, immersive first-person animations, and skin-crawling audio presentation provide a level of polish rarely found in smaller, more affordable games. For those who enjoy horror games, this is a must-play title.